Hello everyone, so today we're kicking off the Halloween DIY season here on my channel. If you like the video, make sure you leave a pumpkin emoji down in the comments. It really helps my video out. With that being said, let's begin.
The next time you're in Dollar Tree, pick up some picture frames. I really like these gold ones I found recently. They do have a black backing that looks like chalkboard. It's really just cardboard. So I'm going to paint some ghosts on top of this. I recommend not putting a lot of white paint on your brush. That way you're able to blend out the white paint smoothly and make some shadows naturally. If you cannot find these picture frames, you can get any picture frame from Dollar Tree and just paint the cardboard black. If you do not know how to paint ghosts on, you can always buy some stickers or temporary tattoos from Amazon. These came out so pretty, you cannot tell that I made them each for $1.25. If you do not have paint, you can always get your paint from Walmart, which is where I get mine. It's from Apple Barrel and it costs 50 cents per paint. The next time you're in Dollar Tree, pick up some glass jars that you like. I really like these ones that look like potion bottles. I'm going to fill up one of them with isopropyl alcohol and then the other one with glycerin. Now to color them, I'm just going to be using some food dye. You just need a drop or two. Now I got some mica powder from Dollar Tree. I'm going to put the mica powder inside of my bottles, and what this does is it creates a really cool swirling potion effect. The reason I used isopropyl alcohol and glycerin is because the mica powder swirls a lot longer inside of those two liquids versus just water. But if you want to use water, you most definitely can. Now I grab my glue gun and use it to seal the cork into place and also make a little oozing appearance to the top of the potion bottle. Once it's completely dry, I paint over it. I went with gold and silver. Yes, it's not the color of the potion inside, but it's potion, so it could come out looking that way. I got some potion labels from Amazon. I'll link them down below for you guys. I go ahead and I stick those to the front of my potion bottles. Now the mica powder will settle down to the bottom of your potion. All you have to do is shake it up again to get that really cool swirl. This is such an easy way to make some really cool potions that are unique versus just putting water and food dye inside of a potion bottle and calling it a day. This is such an easy project. Pick up some of Dollar Tree's garden fence. If you cannot find this, you can always use a hula hoop from Dollar Tree. You're also going to need some skulls. What you're going to do is you are going to zip tie the fence pieces together. If you're using a hula hoop, you don't have to do this. And I'm using 2 fence pieces. Now take a razor or a knife and make 2 little slices through the back of the skull that are pretty close together. Then grab a zip tie, bend the end of the zip tie, and then feed it through those 2 slices, getting it through the skull. You might have to bend the skull in the back a little bit to get the zip tie through. So you can always glue the skulls to the fence. The only thing is when you store it, there's a higher chance that the skulls are going to fall off of the fence. Now I'm cutting off the stakes of the garden fence using a scissor. You can always do this beforehand. I just decided not to because it makes putting the skulls on with the zip tie easier. I got this plant hanger from Dollar Tree. I'm going to be zip tying it to the top of the fence. Dollar Tree does carry these Halloween chains that you can use instead. Now get some LED candles. I got these remote controlled floating candles from the Plus section. The reason I went with these candles is because there's a remote. All I have to do is press the on button to turn them on versus climbing on something to turn on each individual candle. I have a ceiling hook inside of my front room. That's how I hung up my chandelier. I love the way that this looks. It is so easy to do. I love the whole spooky vibe. You can always spray paint this if you want it to be a little bit more lighthearted than like dun dun dun. Also, you can use the other LED candles that Dollar Tree carries, but again, you're going to have to climb up on something to turn each one on. And Dollar Tree recently got this small LED lamp in. I'm going to be using that as well as this jumbo mesh bag from Dollar Tree. I'm actually going to cut into the mesh bag and get some little fabric pieces that I'm going to lay on top of the dome light. I'm going to grab some black craft foam and cut some little ovals that I'm going to glue to the front of the light. You can also use felt if you want to. And I just created this small little ghost using the light. The light is LED. It is very cool to the touch. It doesn't really get hot, so everything is good to go. I want to show you guys how you can make larger ghosts using tomato cages and styrofoam balls. Now on either one you're going to get from Dollar Tree, but they're still really inexpensive. You're going to grab a zip tie and you're going to tie the top of your tomato cages to make it very pointy, and then push your styrofoam balls through the tomato cages. Then you're going to get some Christmas lights. You're going to wrap them around the tomato cages, and I'm using zip ties to make sure that the lights don't fall down and move around. I used a 100 count Christmas light with each ghost that I made. Also, the headband that's there, or my hair. It's actually a headband. I'll link it down below for you guys. There's a bunch of different colors. It looks so realistic. Anyways, what you're gonna do now is you're gonna get some white fabric and you're gonna place it over the tomato cage. Now, I've done this DIY in the past, so I wanted to spice it up a little bit. So I got some pretty fabric that's see-through, so you can still see the white fabric underneath, but still has a nice design. So one is like a lace design, one had some flowers on it, and I just felt like this was a different twist to the tomato cage ghost. Again, I'm just using black craft foam to create the eyes for my ghost, and then just using hot glue to glue them to the fabric. As I was gluing down the eyes, I was like, you know what? These ghosts would look cute with wings. I only had one set of wings, so I took off my wings and I glued them to the back of the medium-sized ghost. If they all had wings, this would look so adorable. They'd be little fairy ghosts. I love the way that this looks. You can use this outside as well. The only thing, and this is what nobody will tell you, if you use it outside, you have to weigh it down because the tomato cages are lightweight that if it gets windy, they fall over. So all you have to do is like grab a brick and just kind of stick it on one side of the tomato cage so it doesn't fall over. This DIY is so easy to do and you end up saving money because at Pottery Barn, these ghosts cost so much more money.
I hope you guys are enjoying the video so far. Let me know your favorite DIY down in the comments below.
I got another fun project. Get some footballs from Dollar Tree. What you're going to do is you are going to slice into them to create a mouth. Basically, we're making some Venus flytraps out of this. So you just want to make it look almost like a Pac-Man mouth. Don't throw away those pieces you cut out because you're then going to use your scissors to cut little teeth out of those pieces. Once I cut the teeth off, I start to paint the footballs a green color. I did have to do 2 layers of paint to make it look the way that I wanted it to look. Now I'm going to use a planter from Dollar Tree and some styrofoam rounds. I'm going to glue the styrofoam pieces inside of the planter. Once I've done that, I got these wooden dowels from Dollar Tree and I'm going to push 3 of them through the styrofoam. Once I've done that, I take my footballs and I push them through the dowels. I did take a knife and start a little hole there to make it easier to push them through. Now I take a red paint and I start to create the lips of my Venus flytrap. Then I take some red paint and paint the inside of the mouth just because I don't want to keep it white there. And I ended up also using a little bit of black paint just to give it more dimension so it just is not a flat red color. Now I use my hot glue gun to glue on the teeth that I cut out of those extra pieces of football. I don't make it perfect. I wasn't trying to make every teeth look alike. It gets a little hard to do that, so do what works best for you. Then take a dark green paint and paint your wooden dowel. I also took that dark green paint and used it to shade where those little indents are inside of the football. It makes it look nicer this way. And then I ended up taking a lighter green paint and using it to highlight on the football just here and there. It makes the Venus flytraps look so much cooler. Now I got these green picks from Dollar Tree. They're $1.25 for 5 of them. I'm going to be placing them around the Venus flytraps. You can either glue them on or use zip ties. I kind of did a mixture of both. I used zip ties around the footballs themselves, but then I used glue anywhere where the greenery was on the bottom part of the wooden dowel. I filled the planter up with some stones and moss that I got at Dollar Tree. I'm just pouring them out of a planter that I used from a previous DIY. I then take some brown paint and use it to make the teeth look more rotted. I think it looks much better this way than leaving it just white. I am so excited with how these turned out, and they're much bigger than the ones that you buy inside of a store for like $50. I also made some Venus flytraps that are much larger last year, and I'm actually going to share that DIY toward the end of this video. If you haven't seen that, check it out. I had those out all last year, and I might put them out again this year. Depends on what I make this year, but these are some of my favorite DIYs in this video. Here's a very quick Halloween DIY. You're going to get 3 skeleton heads from Dollar Tree. Place them all near each other and then put some glue on the heads. You're going to glue a Dollar Tree charger to the heads. And then you have this plate, cake stand, whatever you want it to be, that you can put some treats on top of. So I just put some cupcakes. The little picks that you see are actually stickers I got from Amazon, and I glued them to toothpicks and I just pushed them into the cupcakes. I'll link them down below for you guys if you're into Hocus Pocus. Again, this is a very, very easy Halloween DIY. Right now, Dollar Tree is selling these jumbo MDF DIY wood pumpkins ghosts, witches, and castles. So I got the wood pumpkins and ghost. I had my husband spray paint the pumpkins orange and then the ghost white. You can always use regular paint. We just use spray paint because it's much quicker. I'm going to use these to create a Halloween arch. So first off, I start lining up all of my pieces to create the arch shape. And once I've done that, I start to glue them together using a mixture of hot glue and wood glue. The wood glue is going to make sure they stick together, but the hot glue just makes it so that it dries more quickly for you to move this thing around. I don't glue all the pumpkins and ghosts together. Instead, I'm making 3 separate pieces for my arch. That way it's easy to break down and set up. I'm going to be placing the arch at the front of my outside stairs, so I need some support behind the wood pieces, especially if it gets windy outside. So I'm going to be using some wood. This is actually one fence post we got for $2 at Home Depot and cut in half. I'm placing the sides on top of their own piece of wood, then using little screws to screw the MDF pieces into the wood. That way they aren't going anywhere. To attach this to our stair rails, we're just going to use zip ties. Because I didn't screw all over the post, I'm able to slide the zip tie behind some of the MDF pieces and then tie the zip tie to the stair rail. This keeps the post nice and secure. This isn't heavy, it's not going to damage your rail at all. After both posts are secured, it's time to attach the top. We used a drill to create some holes on our ghost. That way we could zip tie the top of the arch to the sides. That's how I made this Halloween arch, which honestly, I am so proud of this DIY. I saw these and I thought that they would be perfect for an arch. I do recommend sealing the wood, especially if it rains in your area in October. I didn't do that because I don't have time. I film so much while taking care of 2 babies. It's rough sometimes, so I do have to skip some steps, but definitely seal the wood if you can. You can use this indoors, just don't use post and use command strips instead to stick the pieces to your wall. It looks super cool and festive indoors. For our next DIY, you're going to need a cauldron. Dollar Tree does carry these drink dispenser cauldrons that you can use. The only thing is one side of it, you're going to have to turn to the back so you don't see the dispenser. I got my cauldron from Party City for $7.99. Dummy up the bottom with something. Now you're going to need a bunch of disco ball ornaments. I got some from Dollar Tree. I got some from Hobby Lobby, from Michaels. I own a lot of them, so I didn't actually have to go out and buy any for this particular DIY. So I stick the larger ones I have inside of the cauldron. Then I grabbed a skull head. You can get some from Dollar Tree, and I'm going to glue it on top of the ornaments. Now I start to glue in my medium size disco balls that I got from Dollar Tree, and then the smaller disco balls that I start to glue down are also from Dollar Tree, but I got them during Christmas time. During Christmas time, they always bring out these smaller disco ball ornaments. And I'm going to use the smaller ones to glue on the side of the cauldron to make it look like it's bubbling out. Something about me is I have a very hard time keeping DIYs basic. So I went in with some silver paint and painted over the cauldron. The cauldron I'm using is plastic, so adding some silver to it gives it more of a realistic look, and it just adds a lot more dimension to that cauldron rather than that flat black color. This DIY is inspired by this Christian Siriano cauldron that is selling out at HomeGoods. I love the way that this looks. It is so fun. If you like glam decor, this works. If you like more spooky decor, this works. If you like a little more funky decor, this works. This is a perfect piece no matter the type of decor that you have. Our next DIY is so cool. You're gonna get a pool noodle from Dollar Tree and a broomstick. Grab a knife and slightly cut through the pool noodle. That way it could wrap around the broomstick. You can't really push the broomstick through the pool noodle. The holes have gotten smaller. Then you're going to take another pool noodle and just cut a bunch of pieces down into quarters or halves of the pool noodle. They could be bigger or smaller pieces, and you're not looking for perfection here. Then you're going to grab some aluminum foil. I know this is crazy. You're going to grab the aluminum foil and start wrapping it around the pool noodle pieces. You're not looking for perfection when you're wrapping the aluminum foil. The more crinkles, the better. And I will leave a little bit of aluminum foil hanging off of the top and bottom of the pool noodle. Now, one of the pieces that I wrapped in aluminum foil, I'm going to attach to the main base, which is the pool noodle that has the broom handle. So I'm attaching them using some duct tape. Then I go ahead, wrap the bottom portion up with the aluminum foil, And after I've done that, I'm going to take my duct tape and I'm going to wrap it around the entire base of what we're making, which is going to be a tree with branches. So have your main piece, which is like the trunk and the largest branch of the tree, and then the other branches you made, you're going to attach to the main branch. And that's why I said to leave a little bit of duct tape just kind of hanging, because it makes it easier for you to make the extra branches look like they blend in more smoothly with the rest of the tree. And every single branch should have pool noodle inside of it, unless it's a very small piece of aluminum foil that you're trying to make look like a branch that's coming off of the main branches. Every piece of aluminum foil and pool noodle should be covered in duct tape. Once I'm done making the main tree, I'm going to go in with a brush. I got it from Dollar Tree, and I'm going to dry brush some white paint on top of the tree to give it some texture and make the branches pop out a little bit more. Get a planter and a piece of styrofoam. I prefer the square, chunky styrofoam that Dollar Tree carries. You're going to glue the styrofoam inside of the planter. I grabbed something to start a hole in the center of the styrofoam. This makes it easier for me to push the broom handle into the styrofoam. You need to add some weight to the bottom. I used a bunch of stones that I got from Dollar Tree. If you do not add weight, your tree is just gonna topple right over. So you need the bottom to have weight. These next steps are optional. I got some fairy lights. I'll link them down below for you guys. I'm gonna wrap them around the tree. And then I got some clear ornaments. And I'm going to go ahead and attach these ornaments to my tree. Just by using ornament hooks, you're able to push it through the duct tape and into the pool noodle so it stays in place. I used medium and smaller size clear ornaments, and this is how I created a Halloween tree using a pool noodle, broomstick, and duct tape from Dollar Tree. Like I said, you don't have to add the lights, you don't have to add the ornaments, but I think it looks so cool and pretty at the same time with these things. And you will have ornaments left over that you can use for a different DIY. And before I get one of these comments about going outside and just grabbing a branch, not everybody lives near trees that are just dropping big branches like that. I don't live near any trees that do that. If I get branches on the ground, they're usually smaller. If you can find a branch that works for you and you don't mind getting bugs inside of your house, go ahead and do that. In the plus section of Dollar Tree right now, you're gonna find these 3D changing pictures. Now listen to me, you guys. These have so much potential. They look kind of cheap because of the picture frame. So what you're going to do is you're just going to get some gold or silver paint, a different color paint. Even if you're going to use black paint, get a matte black paint. You're going to go over the picture frame with this color. You can stipple it on. You can paint it all just one solid color if you want to. And this is what's going to make this picture frame look high end and like you bought it somewhere else. Now there's this very viral ghost mirror that Pottery Barn is carrying, and I actually saw this mirror in person. I do not see the hype behind it, you guys. It's a $400 mirror, and the ghost does nothing. All you do is turn a switch on, and then there's this ghost there. It does not float. It does nothing. These $5 pictures are way better than that. Obviously, these are smaller and they're not a mirror, but what Dollar Tree was able to achieve with these pictures versus what Pottery Barn achieved, and they're charging $400, it's crazy to me. I'm telling you guys, if you get the opportunity to look at it in person before buying it, look at it, because you'll see it's nice, but not $400 nice. And the eyes light up, though I'm not the biggest fan of color changing lights. I'd rather it just be all white. I ended up finding the skeleton popping out of the picture frame for $5. In the plus section, I decided to paint some gold on the frame. There was already some silver there, and I like the way this looks so much better. I have something similar that I got at Home Goods for $16.99. So I stuck my stuff from Dollar Tree near the thing from Home Goods, and it looks so nice near my potion section. For this project, I'm going to be using these wooden dowels from Dollar Tree and these 18-inch long wooden slats from Dollar Tree. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use wood glue to glue the wooden dowels to the slats. And once that glue is dried, we went in with some screws and screwed them into place to make sure they weren't going anywhere. I got 2 of these wooden boards from Dollar Tree. They're about 18 inches long. I'm going to take the twine off of them, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that wooden dowel piece, I'm going to glue it to one of the wooden boards, and then I'm going to glue the other wooden board to the front of that. Then I got these 12-inch chunky slats from Dollar Tree. I'm going to use 3 of them and glue them on top of the smaller wooden boards. This will help secure the 2 wooden boards together and also add a little level to what I'm making. Now go ahead and paint this whatever color you like. I went with orange. I'm using an acrylic paint to paint my wood. Now this is actually going to be a little popcorn sweets bar. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use these cauldrons from Dollar Tree. I'm going to fill them up with some popcorn. And then to wrap it around the wooden dowel, all you have to do is remove one side of the handle, wrap it around the wooden dowel, and then close it back up. I also got these pumpkins from Dollar Tree. I tried to remove the handle, but then I realized you can't push the pumpkin ones back in. It just breaks. So to hang those up, I got these small little book rings from Dollar Tree. 10 come in a pack, and that's how I'm going to hang the little pumpkin pails. The best case scenario for this is you can find little small S hooks. You just can't find them at Dollar Tree. Hang those off of the wooden dowels and then hang your cauldrons or pumpkins directly off of that. I got these small little snack bowl cauldrons from Dollar Tree. I'm going to fill them up with popcorn, and then I put different sweets on top of the bottom tray. You got to make sure that they're wrapped unless you prepare the wood so that it's food safe. So you don't want to put anything open on top of the wood. So I put some Kit Kats, wrapped candy corn, Reese's, Twix. This is a different take on my candy bars. I'm known for my Dollar Tree candy bars. I do them year after year, every single holiday. So I wanted to do something a little bit different, and I thought that this was perfect. For our next DIY, I'm going to be using 3 different size cauldrons. I got them all from Party City. I'll link them down below for you guys. I think they're relatively cheap compared to what the price of cauldrons normally are. So I'm going to fill up my cauldrons with some pool noodles. The largest one, I did put pool noodles and then some plastic bags to dummy up the center, and I made sure that the top pool noodle that was showing was always black, which Dollar Tree does carry. So I do that to the first cauldron, which is the largest. Then I put the medium-sized cauldron on top of the larger one, but I did glue it into place in an angle. Then I fill that medium-sized cauldron up with a pool noodle, and on top of that, I'm going to put my smaller cauldron. Inside of the cauldrons, I'm going to be gluing in some disco ball ornaments that I got from different stores, Hobby Lobby, Michael's, Dollar Tree, you name it. I've had them for a long time, so I just used a mixture of different ones in different sizes. There is this very, very viral cauldron from Christian Siriano that you're going to find at TJ Maxx, and I actually DIY'd this. My sister found me one after the fact. She got it for me because I was telling her to keep her eyes open for it, and it turns out that the back was broken, okay? But anyways, I DIY'd one on my own because this is so hard to find. This is where mine's is very different from the TJ Maxx one. I got this disco ball light string from Five Below. 2 different ones that I didn't realize were 2 different colors. So one of them has a white light to it. The other one is colorful lights. And I actually like the colorful light one better, which is usually not what I prefer. So I did put the lights around the cauldron and gluing some of the lights into place. With this DIY, you want to make sure wherever you glue an ornament down, if there's other ornaments around it, you glue it to the other ornaments. That way they all stay in place. The smallest disco balls that I am using are from Dollar Tree. It's 6 for $1.25. I use them to fill in any gaps and also make it look like the disco balls are bubbling out of the cauldron. Finally, I got some fairy lights and I wrap them around the disco ball because the one from Christian Siriano has the disco light. So this is probably my favorite DIY in this video, even though it's not all Dollar Tree. Now it's hard for me to give you a price on how much this cost me because I did have all of the disco balls already that I've collected from multiple stores. The Christian Siriano cauldron is $50. I imagine that you could make the cauldron for less, the same, or more. It just depends on where you get your disco balls. I find them to be the cheapest at Hobby Lobby and Dollar Tree, or you can get garland disco ball things at Michael's and it's really cheap. It is not a Bargain Bethany Halloween video without me doing some potion bottles that are more like apothecary style. So I got a glass jar from Dollar Tree that I filled up with some moss and then put some fake butterflies inside of. I put the lid back on and I grabbed some brown paint to go over the lid to make it look more rusty. And the label I put on the front of this one is part of the pack that I got from Amazon. These are my favorite type of potion bottles to make. I think they're just so much more interesting to look at versus the ones that are just like orange and green and purple. I also did one that was filled with mushrooms. The mushrooms are from Dollar Tree. It's a part of their fairy garden collection. So I put those inside of a mason jar. I will say though, it's a little tricky getting 3 of them to stand up straight. I put some brown moss inside of there. Again, the label I'm using is from Amazon, and I painted over the lid to make it look rusty. Finally, this potion bottle I filled up with some water. Then I grab a brown paint, pour a little bit of it inside of the water, and start to mix it around because I want the water to look dirty. It ended up getting a little too dark, so I poured some out, put some more water inside of there to dilute it a little bit. Now I got a fake snake from Amazon. I'll link it down below for you guys. I'm gonna place it inside of my water, and then I put some brown moss inside of there to just make it look like some very dirty water. Now for this jar, I actually grabbed some gold metallic paint and I just stipple it on the front of the jar. I thought this made it really pop out. And again, I make the top of the lid look rusty. I think it looks so much better when you add some brown paint to the lids versus just keeping it that nice silver color or gold color. Like I told you guys earlier, these potion bottles or medicine bottles are so much cooler to look at to me versus the ones where you're just pouring water inside of it and adding some food coloring. Not the one that I shared with you guys that had the mica powders. Those are cool. But the more basic ones, they're just boring to look at versus something like this that is so much more interesting. I do have one more potion bottle to share with you guys. This one is the same in the sense that you're going to add some alcohol, then you're going to put in your food coloring, and then add your mica powder. But the difference is this time around, you are going to use your hot glue gun to make this look like a poison apple. So I grab a permanent marker, I just draw on the features of the poison apple, and then I go in with my hot glue gun to create the designs. You're gonna do this all around the top of your potion bottle and wait for the glue to completely dry. Once it's completely dry, you can then paint over it. I'm using a neon colored green paint, and I do have to do a couple of layers to make sure it's opaque and you can no longer see through and see the glue gun color. I want to give this thing some depth. To do that, I'm actually using black eyeshadow. That way I can shade around the eyes, the nose, and anywhere else I really want to stand out. And the reason I'm using eyeshadow is because it's so much easier to blend and make it look nice and smooth versus using a black paint where you're going to get more harsh lines. I decided to glue some twine to the top of my potion bottle, but honestly I don't think it really added anything. And then I went to Google, typed in free potion poison label, found one that I like, printed it out, and then I just glued it to the top of the potion bottle, and that's how I made this potion bottle that looks like a poison apple. I think it's so cool. I think it's a great little piece that you can use for a Halloween costume. Here's how all of the little potion bottles look in this corner of my house where I have them. I think it looks so cool. I wanted to make it look like an apothecary shop, and the little shelf that you see there, Matt made using some pieces of wood. It was not hard at all for him to make. I love the way that this looks. This is probably my favorite Halloween decor ever. It's just right up my alley. I like the way that it looks. For our next DIY, you're going to get a couple of books from Dollar Tree, and if there is a cover on the front, you're going to remove the cover. Now, I got some black leather from Dollar Tree. It's fake leather, and I'm going to be wrapping it around the books. I'm just going to glue it into place and then cut off any excess leather that I do not need. Now I'm going to use my hot glue gun to spell out what the book is supposed to be. So I did a spell book and a potion book, and you can even add some designs like a spider web onto it or a little spider. Once you have that down and the glue has completely dried, you can paint over it to make it stand out. So I'm just using a silver metallic paint to do this. I go over the glue and you can see it really starts to pop out, and then I go over the top of one of the books. Now in the plus section of Dollar Tree, I was able to find this snow globe. I don't think it makes sense for me to DIY one because it would be more expensive than just buying this one already made, and it goes on its own without me having to shake it. Now the thing is, I want to distress it a little bit, so what I did is I put a layer of Mod Podge on the bottom of it, and then I grabbed some toilet paper, ripped pieces off, and placed it over the Mod Podge. I add another layer of Mod Podge and another layer of toilet paper, and then I paint over that with black and silver paint. paint. And that's how I distressed it, because I don't really like the look of just black plastic. Sometimes I feel like it looks really cheap, so this is how I distress it, make it look more aged and make it match the vibe of the rest of my Halloween decor. Obviously, you don't have to do this if you do not want to. Now I'm gonna place that on top of my books. Then I got a little potion bottle from Dollar Tree. I got this potion bottle from Dollar Tree that I'm gonna place on top of the books. There's already a label on the front of it. I did put some water and food coloring inside of my potion bottle, and then I got this skull from Dollar Tree. I'm also gonna be placing on top of the books. Again, don't really like the way that it looks, so I went in with some black paint to make it look a little bit more realistic and have just different features of the skeleton pop more. During Halloween, you can find decor that looks like this. I decided to DIY my own. I like the way that it looks a lot better. Dollar Tree actually carries something that looks like this in the plus section. However, it doesn't do anything. It's just these books with a skull near it. This way, there's a globe that is moving. There is a potion bottle that looks more realistic, and I like the way that the skull looks a lot better. For our next project, go to Dollar Tree and pick up some mason jars. You're gonna fill them up with some Halloween treats. So I did Reese's Pieces, the pumpkin kind, candy corn, and candy pumpkins. Now, Dollar Tree carries a bunch of Halloween picks. I especially like these witch hats. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take the witch hat off of the pick as well as the ribbon that's on there. I'm going to be gluing the witch hat on top of the mason jar lids and then the ribbon to the front of the lid. I couldn't find the lid to my orange mason jar. If you don't have a lid, maybe don't put unopened food inside of the mason jar and just put things that are already wrapped. This is just a cute Halloween favor that you can give away at a party.
Last year I showed you guys how to make haunted houses using one of these doll houses from Dollar Tree. I see a lot of people doing that DIY now, so I'm thinking, what can I do to make this fresh and not the same thing you see over and over again? So we're going to make this bigger. I'm going to be using 6 for this DIY, and I removed the windows from all of my houses. Then I purchased some foam board from Dollar Tree, and I cut out a piece that's going to be the base of my home. I then glue my houses down. So I glue 4 houses down initially to make it look more like a house versus just one of these where it doesn't have a backing. And then I cut another piece of foam board that's going to go on top of these houses. That way I can add a second story to my house, and I glued 2 more houses up there. Now I needed to cover up the holes in this, so to do that I cut pieces of foam board that I then glue around those holes to make this look like one seamless unit. After this, I spray painted my house black. Now I'm going to be going in with this brush from Dollar Tree, and I'm going to dry brush white paint over this to give this more of a distressed, aged look. Now I'm going to share with you guys how I decorated this. I found these tombstones from the store at home for $2.99. I went ahead and I glued 2 of those to the foam board. I also glued down some of these black trees that I got from Dollar Tree. At this point, I realized I forgot to put the windows back in, so I put the windows back in. And then I continued to decorate with some spiders from Dollar Tree and some web. I found this little jar from Target for $1, and there's little brooms inside of there. I took the brooms out and I glued those to the foam board, and that's how I made this haunted house. I love the way that this turned out, and I'm just so proud of what I was able to do with this, because it does take some thinking and time to come up with this, so I really hope you guys enjoy it. The next time you're in Dollar Tree, pick up 2 cocoa plant liners. You won't believe what you can make with these. You're going to place them inside of each other to basically make a Pac-Man head shape. And when you have that shape down, you can then glue them to each other. Hold the cocoa liners together until the glue has completely dried, and then move on to gluing another section. When you're in Dollar Tree, pick up a broom handle. You're going to trace the broom handle on the bottom of your coconut liner and create a hole using some scissors. You're then going to push the handle through that hole. Now it's time to paint your coconut liner. I'm using a lime green color on the coconut liner. I recommend using a paint sponge to paint this. It makes it so much easier, and do a stippling motion versus a stroke. The edge of the coconut liners has what looks already like a lip, so I painted that area red. I also used black paint. I mixed it with my green paint and with my red paint to shade different areas, and then I used the black paint on its own, especially in the inside of the mouth. Our mouth needs these teeth. I'm going to be using craft foam I got from Hobby Lobby, but Dollar Tree also carries white craft foam. It's just hard to find sometimes. I glue them inside of the mouth just using hot glue, and I don't like to keep them all white, so I use some shades of brown paint to just dirty up the teeth a little bit. Now I got a pool noodle from Dollar Tree. I cut it down to about 3 feet and I push my broomstick through the pool noodle. Now I'm going to be using a planter I got from Dollar General for $10. We're flipping it over and we're using our drill to create a big hole at the bottom. This way we can place our broomstick through this hole. You don't want it to be too big, otherwise the broomstick is going to fall right over. I placed some gravel and stones at the bottom of this. The stones were from Dollar Tree and the gravel was from Walmart. You just want this to be weighted at the bottom so it's not easy to tip over. I ended up painting the pool noodle. I just used a darker green, black, and brown paint. Once I have that done, it's time to attach some fake greenery. Now this greenery I got at Hobby Lobby. You can use Dollar Tree greenery, but you end up spending more at Dollar Tree than you do just going to a craft store and getting it on sale. And when I glued the greenery to the coconut liner, I held it in place while I wait for the glue to dry. That's how I made these almost 5 feet tall Venus fly traps, and I made them for under $25. I only needed 4 Dollar Tree products plus the greenery from Hobby Lobby, which was $8, and then the planter, which was $10. You're gonna get a bottle from Dollar Tree. I found these bottomless bottles, and what that means is there's no bottom there, so it's really easy to put things inside of it. I'm gonna start painting the bottle white, but I'm gonna leave an area of the bottle unpainted so you can clearly see through it. I got some cotton, and I'm going to make little balls of cotton that I will place inside of the fabric. I then wrap the fabric around the cotton and glue the fabric into place so that it doesn't unravel around the cotton. Once that's glued down, I take my scissors and I just cut this little strip up. Then take some string and wrap it just underneath the cotton. Basically, you're making little ghosts, and I made 3 of these total. Once I had the ghost all tied, I glued them together, so I have my tallest ghost in the back, and then the ghosts go a little bit shorter. It's up to you the way you want to do this. You just want to make sure you glue all your ghosts together. Then I painted some eyes on the ghost just using black paint. Next up, I put some glue on the back of the tallest ghost, and then I use a pair of tongs to glue that to the back portion of the inside of the bottle. I use tongs because you need to have a very tiny, thin hand to be able to reach inside of there. So get something to put it in there beside your hand. And then I used a little bit of glue at the bottom to push the bottom front ghost to the front of the glass. I then tied some ribbon to the top of my bottle. The last step is to paint Bottle of Booze on the bottom or top of your bottle. That's completely up to you. And this is actually inspired off of something that you can buy in stores around this time and on Amazon for $20. But I made mine for $1.25 because I had the fabric and paint and ribbon all on hand. But even if you have to go and buy all of those pieces at Dollar Tree, you can still make this for under $5. Finally, I put some fairy lights inside of this, and that was it. I love the way that this turned out. I have done a Bottle of Booze before, and that one was made a little bit different. If I remember to link it down below, I will link it down below for you guys, just in case you cannot find this particular bottle that doesn't have a bottom. This is one of my favorite Dollar Tree hacks I've done for the past few years. Get these spider bowls from Dollar Tree and command Put the strips on the back of the bowl and then place the bowls on your wall. I decided to put some bowls at the bottom of the fireplace to make it look like they're crawling out of there. Last year I did bats coming out of the fireplace, and I did the bowls inside of my kitchen. This time around I decided to do the bowls in the fireplace, and this looks so cool, you guys. And I love that they are a bigger size, so they really do draw attention to this area. I did put a few on the ceiling just because I thought that this would look cool. I wanted to share this with you guys because I knew I would get questions about these. I got this pack of floating witch hats from Target for $1 in the Bullseye Playground. Now the way that you put these together, it's very hard, so use hot glue. Once I had them finished, I just hung them off of some command hooks. So this is how it looks with the spiders, the witch's hat. My favorite is obviously the spiders. I love doing bring anything like this to a fireplace during Halloween. It looks really creepy and it looks cool. When people come over, they always comment about the spiders or the bats that I have on the wall.
The next time you're in Dollar Tree, pick up some laundry baskets and poster board. I'm going to start off by gluing 3 laundry baskets together. 2 will be glued with the tops touching each other and then 1 to the bottom of those 2. I'm going to be making a nutcracker based off of one that I found at Home Goods. I'm using the laundry baskets as the main foundation of the nutcracker, and then I'm going to use poster board as some of the main features of the nutcracker. So the pants, the shirt, the arms, the head. Now this is inspired by Sarah Jane at Chic on the Cheap and Jessica Lynn at Home. Both of them created nutcrackers. I saw Sarah Jane do it first, and then shortly after she did hers, I saw Jessica Lynn do one using poster board. I thought this was such a brilliant idea. If you're monetizing off of someone who inspired you with their ideas, want to thank them, so please check these talented ladies out. When you're starting to attach the poster board, I recommend having somebody on hand to help you so you can line up things perfectly. I used a mixture of tape and hot glue. Tape initially to get things lined up and then glue to set it into place. Now as the main base for the legs, I used Dollar Tree foam board. What I did is I just rolled it, and then after I have it rolled, I took zip ties to make sure it didn't unravel on me, and then I used glue to just go ahead and make sure it was nice and secure. As the main foundation of all of this, I'm using a pizza pan, and that's where I glue these legs to. Now you can paint the details of Frankenstein on. The only issue with that is if you make a mistake, it's really hard to color match to the poster board. So I actually recommend using craft foam. I'll link this pack down below for you guys. It's from Walmart. So what you'll do is you'll use craft foam to create these details. So if you make any mistakes, you can fix that with the craft foam versus painting it on, and then you have to fix it with paint. Once the craft foam is cut, you can start gluing it to the poster board. I would definitely use hot glue to do this. After all the details were glued on, I was left with this Frankenstein nutcracker that stands around 6 feet tall. I love him so much, and I definitely would love to try a jack-o'-lantern, ghost, and other Halloween characters in the future. Let's make a spell book with a moving eye. You're going to need a hardcover book. I got mine from Dollar Tree. You're also going to need a Kabonchan. I got a 2-pack from Amazon for $9.99. I will link them down below for you. I'm going to place a Kabonchan on top of the book and then outline it with a marker. Once I've done that, I'm taking a utility knife and cutting the front hardcover of the book where I traced. This DIY is inspired by Wicked Makers here on YouTube. They're an amazing channel I highly recommend checking out. They aren't a Dollar Tree based channel, but instead a DIY channel that specializes in Halloween and spooky DIYs. You're going to need a phone for this project. I went to YouTube and found this moving eye video that will be linked below. I placed the phone underneath the hardcover, lining up the hole with the eye that is on my phone. Once it is lined up, I trace around my phone and then I start to cut where I traced. I need to make a hole big enough to fit my phone inside so that the book can close properly. I decided to keep my phone higher up, that way I could just use my scissors to cut the hole instead of a utility knife, and I could slide my phone in and out of the hole easily. So keep cutting your paper down till your hole is deep enough. You're going to take your Kabonchan, place it inside of that hole, and then use a glue gun to glue it into place. You can also use your glue gun to create the eyelid around the eye. All you have to do is just keep layering glue to create that eyelid depth and shape. You can use your glue gun to create wording on your book as well as designs like spider webs and binder details. You can use it to age the book just by gliding the tip of the glue gun across the book, creating lines and stringy pieces. There's so much you can do here. I also ended up making scars and stitches similar to the Hocus Pocus book, which I have done in the past. I got a pack of fake spiders. You're going to see me use a lot in this video from Amazon. Dollar Tree does carry fake spiders, but if you're going to need a bunch in bulk, go to Amazon. It's cheaper to do it that way and you get a whole bunch. So I'm going to be gluing some of those spiders to my book. After you're done creating your designs and the glue is dried, you can start painting on top of the glue. So I went with a bunch of different colors. At first I just put brown all over the place, and then I decided it needed some black. I eventually added gold. You just play it by ear. I really recommend stippling the color on because that helps give it an aged look. Anyways, after you're done with all of that, just put your phone inside of the book,
press play and look how cool this is. I think this is so awesome, and you can use an old phone and just have it on loop. This is so easy to do, I'm telling you guys, and it's just so cool, especially since it's something you made yourself, and if you bought it in stores, it's gonna look nothing like this. I definitely have to use this technique to remake my Hocus Pocus book, so make sure you check out my TikTok and Instagram because I plan on uploading that there. Dollar Tree carries these canisters that are great for holiday decor. So I'm going to be using 2 of the 4-quart ones and 2 of the 2-quart ones. So the 2-quart ones are going to be glued on the top and bottom of what I'm creating, and the 2 bigger ones are in the middle. I recommend using E6000 glue and hot glue to glue these together. I'm just using hot glue for video purposes just because I could get things done sooner. Inside of the bottom canister, I put in some bags of stones that I got from Dollar Tree to weigh this down. Now I'm going to be making a toy soldier, a jack-o'-lantern toy soldier. I got this jack-o'-lantern from the Dollar Tree Plus section for $5, and I'm using command strips to attach that to the canisters. That way I can take it off whenever I want to. I'm basing this toy soldier off of a nutcracker I saw at Home Goods, so I'm just doing kind of the same jacket and color scheme. The nice thing about these canisters is they take paint really well because of the material. It has like some grit to it, so the paint adheres really nicely to it. I did have to do a few layers of each color to make it opaque so you couldn't see through the canister. You can always take a white primer and spray paint it all over the canisters ahead of time so you're only doing 1 layer of acrylic paint. For my toy soldier's arm, I'm going to be using black pool noodles. You can get these at Dollar Tree during Halloween time. And I'm going to cut down a piece to be the arm, a piece to be pretty much like the wrist, and then a piece that will be the hand. I then glue the arms down first, and then the one that's going to be the wrist with the arm, I glue those down, but I make sure I hold them in place as I wait for the hot glue to dry, because if you try to let go of them right away, it's going to keep falling right off. You just kind of hold it in place as the glue dries. I used a broom handle from Dollar Tree to be the stick that the toy soldier is holding. I don't know what the stick is actually called, and I ended up cutting this down a bit, so I just used something to create some pressure in the middle of the handle, and then I go back and forth with the handle until it snaps off. Slide that through the pool noodle. Then I got this pumpkin ghost from Dollar Tree. I removed the head off of it, and then I removed the little styrofoam that's on it, revealing wires that I push through the broom handle. So that's just going to be the top of the cane. I don't know if it's a cane. I got some mini jack-o'-lanterns that I'm using as the hands of my toy soldier. One of them I just glued directly to one of the arms, and then the other one I had to cut in half and then cut the bottom off of so that it could wrap around the broom handle. That is it for these toy soldiers. Really easy to make. If you're not good at painting, you can always cut down poster board or craft foam to create the features of your toy soldier. Last year I made a moving witch broom using an RC car, and in that video I told you guys I wanted to make one using a floor vacuum like a Roomba, but I never did and people beat me to it, so that's what I'm doing in this video. I got half of a styrofoam ball from the craft store for $3.99. I also got a small styrofoam ball from Dollar Tree. I'm taking a broom handle from Dollar Tree and pushing it through the styrofoam half and then through the ball, creating a hole. After I have those holes created, I use glue to help secure the broom handle through those styrofoam pieces. I then purchased 2 luau skirts from Dollar Tree, and I'm going to use that as the main part of the broom. There's twine underneath the raffia, and I use that twine to initially tie the skirt to the handle and then wrap the skirt around, using hot glue here and there to make sure it doesn't slide around. I used 2 skirts total to make this look full. You're going to place your broom on top of your vacuum and then cut off any excess raffia because you don't want it to be getting stuck underneath your vacuum. Now, my vacuum is not a Roomba. It's something I got off of Amazon. However, if you want something like this specifically for this DIY, Five Below does carry a floor vacuum for $25. It does work. However, it's not good at mapping out your house. I bought one before. I used it in a video. I'll link it down below for you guys if you're interested in getting it.
To stick this to the vacuum, I'm just using command strips. I'm using 4 for the bottom and the top of this. So I placed the 4 on top of the vacuum, and then the other 4 I pushed into the ones that are on the vacuum, and then I put glue on the back of that just to make sure it really adheres nicely to the styrofoam, because the adhesive that's on there is not enough to make sure it sticks to the styrofoam. I'm gluing some ribbon around the broom. This is just some leather ribbon that I got from Dollar Tree. Now, finally paint the broom handle to look like a wooden stick. To do this, you're just going to start off with your base color. You want to probably go with a brown color. I went with a light brown color. And then to get the wood grain, you can just dry brush a darker brown color over this. So basically that means dipping a paintbrush inside of some paint, rubbing most of the paint off, and then gliding the paintbrush across whatever surface it is you're doing it across, and it's going to create these small little lines that make it look like a wood grain. This is one of the easier DIYs in this video. It is so easy to do. Now there is a downside to this. The downside is if you're using the Roomba to clean your floors and it's trying to get underneath a couch or underneath a table, the broom handle's in the way, point blank period. So this is not something that you're going to leave on all the time, because otherwise your Roomba's not going to be able to clean your floors. You're going to have to remove it, and it's easy to remove because there are command strips. For our next project, I got a cauldron from Michaels. If you get it half off, it's $10. I couldn't find one at Dollar Tree that was big enough for this. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take tissue paper from Dollar Tree, and I'm going to use it to dummy up the bottom. Inside of the cauldron, I'm going to place one of these skeleton heads from Dollar Tree. Then I got this 2-pack of bones from Dollar Tree that I'm also going to put inside of my cauldron, except I cut one down so that it's a little bit shorter. I used glue to make sure I had the skeleton head exactly where I wanted it to be, as well as the bones. Now I got these ornaments from Dollar Tree, and I am going to be using the clear ones. So I used 2 packs of these because there's only 3 of these in each pack. As I place them down, I remove the silver tops off of them, and then I glue some into place because some of them I don't want them to move at all. Like I put one near the bones and I don't want it to fall down. I then take my hot glue gun and use it to start making some drips coming out of the cauldron. I also used it to make some designs on it. So basically I am basing this off of a cauldron that I got at Home Goods. I was like, I really want to see if I could recreate it using Dollar Tree products. So for the most part I was, minus the cauldron itself, because of course I had to get it at Michael's. As I was waiting for the glue to dry, I decided to glue down these eyes that I got from Dollar Tree. And then after that, I went ahead and I started painting over the glue. So I had the dripping green color, and then the designs I did on the cauldron itself, I painted gold. I didn't like the fact that the skull was a different color from the bones, so I decided to try and color match them a bit so that they looked more like one and the same. And then I got these fairy lights from Dollar Tree. They're actually for a bottle. I decided to loop them around the little ornaments. And finally, I got Model Magic from Dollar Tree. I decided to roll the Model Magic into small little balls. And then after they dried, I went ahead and glued them all around the cauldron. And the reason I did this is because, like I said, this is based off of something from Home Goods. I wanted to mimic the little green balls that are in the one from Home Goods. I then went over that with a little bit of a lime green paint to make it stand out a little bit more. After filming this, I decided to glue on some of the spiders that I got from Amazon. I went spider crazy with this video, and I thought it added to the cauldron. So that's how I recreated the cauldron that I saw at Home Goods. I think this is so cool. I like it so much, and I hope you guys do too. If you cannot find the luau skirts at Dollar Tree, you can always use their mop heads as a broom. So what you'll do is you'll unravel the mop so it's a bunch of small strings versus the ones that are twisted around each other. It really isn't as time consuming as it looks. Just put something on TV and watch it while you unravel this. I decided to go over this with a dog comb. That way I could just make sure that every string is unraveled, and then I could kind of straighten it out a little bit. Now I got some brown spray paint and I spray paint the mop. Now I focus mainly on one side. I do spray paint all of it, but I focus on one side, really making sure I cover up as much of the white as I can. And that's because only one side is really going to be showing for this particular DIY. And I do recommend using spray paint because doing this with just regular paint takes forever.
Just like the previous broom, I put the same handle back on. I painted it the exact same color. The difference is I cut the broom handle down to be shorter. I use my miter shears to do this, and then I take some pliers to open back up that hole after I squished it to make it shorter, and then I just put the cap back on. I then got some nautical rope and I wrapped it around the handle of the broom going down where that mop is to make it look more like a witch's broom. I got this sign from Dollar Tree. I'm actually going to flip it over and I am going to paint the back of it a beige color with some brown. After that, I go ahead and I glue it to this DIY MDF wood board from Dollar Tree. I then took some black paint and I painted broom parking on the sign. Now, I was initially going to hang command hooks off of this so that I could hang the broom handles off of the hooks. However, I couldn't find my hooks at all, so instead I ended up using screws. Before I could use the screws, I had to get 2 more of those MDF boards and glue them to the back of the main one I had to make it thicker to hold screws. Then I went ahead and screwed through that to hang the brooms off of. Then I ended up dry brushing some white paint on that black board just because I did not like the way it looked. To hang this off of my wall, I just used command strips, and that's how I made this broom parking wall art using Dollar Tree products. And you can buy it right now at Marshall's, but it's pretty expensive to get this at Marshall's. Like I said, the only difference is I wish that the black was more of a brown wood color.
So that is it for the video. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope you guys enjoyed the makeup that I did in this video. It was a lot of fun. I will see you next time. Take care. Bye.